He's going to jump on here. I assume that he will, but going to jump on here. I assume that he will.
All right, there's the hat.
Texted the mayor. Haven't heard back just yet. We'll give him maybe another minute before we go ahead and get started.
He is in the waiting room right now. So
yeah, I talked to him earlier and he said he would be on there. So
there he is.
All right, Stephen, are we okay to go ahead and call it to order?
You are rolling whenever you're ready.
All right, we'll call our meeting of the Rafting and Tourism Committee to order. We'll jump right into it. We can see on the video everybody that's here. Purpose of the meeting, Lee and Joseph been hard at work trying to track down solutions to the hiking and biking park, and got some updated proposal information to share with us. And then hopefully we come out of this meeting, maybe knowing what the commission could do contributions wise to support maybe some upcoming grant applications. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lee Brown.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate your all's time this morning. Just to kind of update, we're still working on some numbers with the contractor. We talked about that a little bit last time we were together, but we're moving into grant application time, and the ARC grant application comes, we'll be putting that together in March, and I believe the deadline's early April. But the big problem we had in the past was the match funds. And I know we've talked about how can the county help. And so after we're beginning to kind of piece all the puzzle together, I really feel like if we could get a $50,000 commitment from the county, and we want to ask the city for the same, a $50,000 commitment on grant applications. So one, you got a little bit of, if you want to look at it as an optimistic way, that we don't get funded and you don't have to spend any money. But I would hope that we do get funded and you would get to contribute and be part of this project. But so we've got two grants that we need to try to secure. And the ARC Power Grants, the first one, and then the Recreational Trails Program grant through the state. That'll be later in the fall this year. But if we could get a $50,000 commitment from the county and $50,000 from the city, I think that would poise us well for the ARC application. And if it was successful, that would pretty well take care of it. We really want to seriously consider chasing the state grant, the Recreational Trail Program grant as well, because it's not a slam dunk just because we apply for ARC that we're going to get it. If we did, then that would be enough money to finish up the project. So that's kind of where we're at. We've got money earmarked and given for materials for parking area and preparation of the parking area and the site for the bathroom, changing room, that stuff. Got some other money appropriated that can help for construction. And of course, we got the Healthy Built Environment Grant that we'll know about in March, I believe, when the announcement of that will be. So let me stop right there and see what questions you might have.
Lee, when we applied for the ARC grant just this past year, was the feedback that we didn't have enough local financial support for that? Was that one of the feedback comments that we got on that?
So the first comment was, you've got a really good application and you've got a great project, but you have no skin in the game. You have no local money in. So what we counted for match was the property and in-kind service, our time for inspection and those type things. And all of the grants that we're participating in, they want to see, instead of just handing out money to communities, they want to see communities that realize that they're helping a community that's willing to invest in themselves. So if we don't really have any match funds for this ARC application, we probably don't need to go through the process to try to fill it out, because it's a fairly lengthy process to complete that.
And the ARC grant is how much, Lee? I mean, that you'll be applying for?
Mayor, it'll be enough for what we feel like it'll take to finish it. And so I don't have a hard number right now, but it'll be somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million. The minimum ask is $400,000 on ARC.
And Lee, if I can, for clarification, when you say finish it, you mean finish phase one or finish the entire project?
The project.
The whole project.
The whole project.
You said the deadline was in April, Lee. When will they let you know if the grant is approved?
Marie, those usually come out sometime. We'll get an unofficial announcement sometimes as early as August. The official announcement usually doesn't come till maybe November. And so just comparing, you can look at it much like our broadband application. So we just got notice to proceed with Limestone Cove sometime in the last month. So we found out in August, but we couldn't say anything about it. The official announcement came out in, I think it was late October, early November. And then it takes a fair amount of time for all the contract work to get processed through ECD in Nashville. And so that took some time. And this project will probably take a little bit longer because it involves doing something on a piece of property. You know, our broadband was hanging fiber optic cable on existing poles. So there'll be a environmental impact study that'll have to be done, and that will drag out and take some time. So, you know, we might not get a notice to proceed. It could be up March or April of next year if we're funded, which is not a bad thing. That's kind of getting into better weather for construction anyway. So that'd be my goal, that we're successful and ready to go to construction when the weather's good in 2022, and it'd be finished up sometime in the fall.
So Lee, going back to the commitment for 50,000 or whatever, and by city and county, are they going to be, if both entities decide to do that, are they going to be able to go ahead and do phase one and then the ARC would pick it up from there? Or you want to have to sit and start everything at the same time?
No, I think I think things are going to work out that we're going to be able to get phase one done with the Healthy Built Environment Grant. If not, we can pull enough pieces together to make it happen if we're not successful on that. So there's just a lot of moving pieces. It's not something I can just hand you a piece of paper and say, here's where all the money's coming from. But I've got commitments on enough stuff that I feel confident phase one's going to be there. And we've got to focus on phase two and securing that grant, or we'll never see the rest of this park finished. I mean, it's going to take some money. And if we could get that commitment, and so the earliest probably that you might even have to contribute anything, it might even get pushed out to fiscal year 23, like July 1st of next year. Not next year. Yeah, next year. 18 months away.
Is there a match on the ARC? Or how's that? Or that will be met then already if we do the 50 and the town does the 50 with the land value and stuff? I mean, will we have enough to cover a match on that?
We will, and I think it's a 30% match. And so the land value and some of our time and some of our inspection and those type things will add to that match as well. And so, yeah, that'll poise us well to be in the running to get funded.
Right. Well, as far as presenting something to the commission, do you have at least, I know you said the cost had been driven down from the original estimate from whatever it was, 240, 260 down to 85 to 90. Can we get something on paper that shows at least phase one, and then what the estimate is for the rest, and our ARC would cover and stuff? Or, I mean, I've got to have something that I can pass on to the rest of the commission if this committee decides they want to make a recommendation to the commission. So
we don't have it prepared today, but we can have it. Yes.
Okay.
Because we're going to have a draft of our budget anyway if we're going to chase this money.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So is this something we would want to make a recommendation to have the commission consider in February? I think there's the ARC letters due in March. So would it be good if we had the, commission, if we were going to commit something, if we knew that when we were writing our letter of interest for March? So is it maybe this month we should probably be looking to consider this?
It would be helpful, but let me see what the deadline is. I don't have that committed to memory.
Mayor, let me ask a question of the mayor. Would it be, if we were to commit to 50,000, could we block that over 2 to 3 years? So we block 20 to 25,000, or, if we're looking at a 3-year perspective, block 10 this current budget, 20 the next budget, and 20 the following budget. Is that something we could do in terms of earmarking?
I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, we still have $300 and some thousand in governor grant funds that, we could reserve $50,000 out of that. I mean, that would be my recommendation. I'd rather than try to budget out 2 years or 3 years, not knowing exactly if we need 20 this year, 20 next year, or whatever. Okay. But my recommendation would be that we earmark, 50,000. We know we've got our 50 covered, if the town chooses to participate, so.
There's no time limit on that spending, correct? For that particular set of funds.
Matter of fact, I've got to check on that. Originally it was 2022, the spending on it. But then they took all the restrictions off. So I think it was just, I think we can use it at any time, but I can confirm that. I've been meaning to try to confirm that with the state anyway. But I think, like we earmarked 30,000, I think, for the Pate property purchase, and we can make an earmark for this 50, so make it subject to whatever conditions you guys want to put on it, you know, as far as that's concerned. But instead of trying to budget over 2 years or 3 years, I would earmark some of those funds that we have.
Okay, thank you.
So deadlines, the letter of commitment is March the 5th. The full application's due mid-April, April 16th. So yeah, it'd be nice to have it, you know, end of February, but we're not dead in the water if we didn't get a commitment till March. So I kind of leave that up to your all's best ideas as to when to present that. And we'll be glad to put together, you know, presentation and material and talk about the whole project.
Do you think we could have the kind of that cost estimate for the whole project for the February meeting if we wanted to try to get it on the agenda this month? Or would it be better to put it off until March to give the other commissioners kind of the big picture?
Definitely March gives us more time to be better prepared, but I think we can have something that's high level. It may change a little before we do our final application, but I think we can have something put together that'll be really close. If y'all decide that's the best approach.
You need to keep in mind that agendas and everything, we're sitting at Thursday and agendas will go out on Tuesday after the holiday. So, you know, just for the record, you know, we're in a time, kind of a tight squeeze to get something. I mean, and that's fine if y'all can put something together that quick. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of we try to get those out by Tuesday of the week prior to the commission meeting.
What about meeting with the town of Irwin? When do y'all plan to do that?
Marie, I don't have that calendar right now, but soon. I need to sit down with the mayor and hopefully, you know, next week.
I can tell you, Lee, that I talked to Travis Bishop about it, and I asked him to talk to, and the mayor didn't meet with us at that time, and I explained to him what we were trying to do, and he said he would talk the project over with the town mayor, and I told him I'd be happy to meet with him, explain anything that I knew about the project, and that's been over 2 weeks ago. I haven't heard anything back from them, so I don't know. The initial just statement from Travis is he wasn't sure if the mayor would be interested in anything. I'm not sure. You know, he wasn't there, so we'll wait on, you know, see how he feels about that, or if the town can participate. That's their decision. But I did reach out after our meeting to the town and try to get something set up, and I actually spoke to Travis about it. So.
Yeah, we're going to try to get something calendared as quickly as we can.
Well, I think I would echo the mayor's recommendation that we could earmark some of Governor Lee's grant funds towards this project. You know, the 50,000. I guess I'm flexible whether it's better to do it at February meeting or the March's meeting, but other commissioners, I don't know. What do you guys think about it?
When will we get into some of our budget discussions? Are we going to have some meetings coming up here 1st of March, middle of March?
Karen sent that timeline out, Marie. I'm not sure. I don't have the, we're going to go by our calendar. If the commission decides to earmark the grant funds, it wouldn't have anything to do with the next year's budget as far as that's concerned. But now if you want to put it in next year's budget, that is an option to budget it over a couple of years. So I can step in here and ask Karen if I don't remember. I thought it was scheduled somewhere around the 1st of March with the office holders and stuff. So,
You know, maybe presenting something to the full commission with the option of, you know, earmarking the governor's funds for that, or, you know, including it in the budget for next year when you get into that. Something may come up after the fact that would make it better to go one way or the other. I don't know. I'm just sharing an idea. Excuse me.
I have no problem going ahead and recommending to the full commission that we look at partnering on this project and providing the 50,000, and then maybe potentially looking at either using the governor's grant or earmarking it over a time period. I think that's whatever the commission feels best moving forward. But I think from a committee perspective, I think recommending it to the full commission for approval would be fine.
Is that a motion?
Sure, absolutely. I make a motion that this committee recommends to the full commission supporting this project and the $50,000 request.
Is there a second? I'll second it. So all in favor?
hey, can we have a little bit of discussion on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
I think my personal opinion, and y'all do what you want to do, but that if we're going to recommend it to it, there should be some caveats or subject tos or whatever, subject to the town's participation. I don't want something half done, and I know Lee Brown doesn't do things half done, but you know, if especially as I said in the last meeting, I want to make sure that we can get at least with what we're contributing and the town contributes, and we can absolutely be assured that at least phase 1 is going to be done. Now, whether we get the other grant and get the total project finished or not, you know, but I'm a big proponent in leveraging, you know, grants, especially through, you know, if we have to participate. But, you know, there might be some, and if y'all feel like that's a discussion the commission needs to have, what caveats or that would be part of that, subject to a maximum of 50. It may not take 50 if the healthy grant comes through, whatever. But I would just kind of throw that out there to you guys. There's 3 of you guys here, and that might be a discussion for how we take care of the $50,000 commitment. But just wanted to make sure. I do think it needs to be a joint effort, and as I've said in the past, and you know, I think the town would really benefit. I think the county would benefit, and I think it would really leverage some of those dollars to help us move forward with a project that could, if we get the total project done, could really bring in tourists and people from outside the county to spend a little money here too. And, you know, it's more of an investment than it is an expenditure, the way I look at it. So, but just before you voted, I just, you know, or at least y'all could think about that. And of course, the full commission's going to have to vote on it anyway if y'all refer it. So,
I think as Lee pointed out, it is contingent on getting the grants. So I think our commitment would be 50,000 towards either the ARC or the recreational trails. So I feel like we are leveraging our money there. And if we're unsuccessful in both of those grant applications, then we basically aren't spending a dime. And then I certainly hope that the town of Irwin will also participate as well. And I know Lee is working on that over the next week or so, simultaneously working with us. But yeah, I mean, I think it's probably reasonable that it's a commitment towards those grant applications, and so therefore it is somewhat contingent.
okay, just that sounds good.
So would it be better then for the motion to read to support the project with matching grant funds for up to $50,000 contingent upon equal support from the town of Irwin? Would that be a more amendable type motion?
I don't, excuse me, Marie, I don't know that you have to decide that in this motion, just that you referring the project. The recommendation is to move ahead with the project for 50,000, and then you guys can decide exactly that, or the commission would vote on whatever motion is put forth at the regular meeting, and that caveat could be put in there. Marie I stepped on her toes. She had something to say. There may be some other stipulation that the commission chooses to put on it or something.
I was just going to say basically what you did, Mayor, that, I think it should be based on the city's commitment. We should, we both should be partners in this. On that recreational trails grant, what type of grant or how much was that grant? We didn't discuss that, but we talked about the ARC grant being $500,000 to $1 million.
Marie, I think it's 200,000 or maybe a little over 200,000 with the seems like it's got a $50,000 or $60,000 match on it.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not enough money to do it all, but it'd be better than nothing. And so our plan would be to use the city's commitment and the county's commitment for match funds on the ARC. And then we would use the city and or the counties are part of that on the recreational trails program grant. If we are lucky, if we're fortunate and we get funded through ARC, we'll withdraw our name from the hat with the recreational trails program because we won't need it. But we're just trying to keep up with all opportunities to help bring that funding here to the county.
On the ARC grant with the 30% match, if it is $1 million, you're talking 300,000. Will the property in-kind work, and if the county committed to the 50,000 and the city committed, is that going to be enough to make those match funds?
It will be.
Okay, good discussion. I don't know if I can clarify exactly what your last motion was, Stephen. Can you go ahead and repeat that for us one more time?
So the original motion was to recommend this to the full commission for the support of the 50,000. However,
Friendly amendment?
yeah, I'm looking to the friendly amendment to that, which would be to add the idea to support the project with matching grant funds for up to 50,000 contingent upon equal support from the town of Irwin.
I'll second that. So any more discussion?
I guess we could discuss this in the meeting, as far as where those funds will come from, which we've talked about here, but, that might be another part of this that we have to designate where the funds will come from.
I think it's a good point. Upon the mayor's recommendation of going with the governor's grant support, that would be an easy place to look at that. That would not have an impact on the day-to-day operations of the county. So, that would be, I think, one area that we could definitely attach. If we wanted to go ahead and do that now and make that full recommendation, I would be open to that as well. Marie, if you want to make the amendment for that.
I think we're all kind of in agreement that makes the most sense. So I think as far as putting it on the agenda, like maybe we go ahead and clarify that's the direction and that's our recommendation. So if you want to make that friendly amendment to your motion, I'll second that as well.
For funds to be provided by the governor's Grant, I will accept that friendly amendment and will amend my motion accordingly.
Okay, and I'll second that. Clear as mud, Mayor, for the agenda?
Good to go.
All right, sounds good. All right, so commissioners in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So that'll be our recommendation, Mayor, for getting that on the agenda for the full commission to consider.
Ms. Rice, did you vote? I'm sorry.
Yes, I did.
Okay. You in favor? I just want to know whether I'll put unanimous is the
Yeah.
only reason I was asked.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is, this is not coming directly out of what I would say taxpayers' funds. I mean, this grant, it is essentially taxpayers' funds, but it's not like it's taken away from our budget or coming out of our county revenue that we normally get. So the other aspect of this too is, I'm just hoping that if we do get some new grant money from the governor's grant later, we need to really work on cell phone, emergency communications. We really need to work on some of those things in this county because while we have funding for something like that, we need to be looking at grants. We need to be getting things like that taken care of.
Absolutely.
Well, just personally, if the ARC grant ended up being $1 million and the other one 200,000, and the towns and the county's investment end up being $100,000 to bring a project together like this, to me, it's a tremendous investment in the future of the whole county and the town. It is spending, it's not spending our tax dollars that comes directly out of our budget. It's, but it is county funds. So, but I think it's a good way to leverage assets, so.
So to be clear on my end, are y'all planning to present this in February?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care to present it, but I think we need to have some numbers, or budget. If that budget is you were talking about, if it can be put together, something to present, or if you want to make a presentation along with something I can get out to the commission so that they have time to look at it. And, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. I'll just put it that way. So, but I'm open either way, and it's up to you guys. But I really would, if we're going to discuss it, I've discussed that with Ms. Rice several times. I like to get the information out ahead of time so that people can have the opportunity to look at it and study it and, ask the appropriate questions, that needs to be asked. So,
Mayor, you're telling me I need stuff to you by the 16th. Is that what I heard?
Yes, sir. In order to get it in this month's packet, I'd have to have it by the 16th, or we can wait till March if that's not a good thing. So, I mean, now you commissioners, if speak up, if you're fine with just a discussion and a presentation, I don't vote. So, but I do like to get the information. That is a lot of money. So.
I do agree with you, Mayor. I think having the information would be helpful in the discussion overall, versus just a presentation the day of. So,
I think that the last time the full commission heard, we were talking about a $1.75 million to a $2 million project. So, if we did have something on paper that kind of brought them up to speed on where we think we're at now, would probably be helpful.
Right.
And I definitely think an explanation that the potential contribution of 50,000 could cover the cost of the entire project, where the original discussion was 80,000 for phase one. I think that will be helpful as well.
And the information about the grant, at least the amounts of the grant would be real helpful to have that spelled out if you could.
We'll get you something, Mayor. probably won't be at the beginning of business on the 16th, but we'll have it to you sometime after lunch.
If you do that, we're working on our agenda right now, but with Monday being the holiday, it's obviously probably going to be Tuesday when it gets out to commission. So
Let us in.
we'll put it on the agenda.
So I just want to say thank you all for your time and thanks for it's not a done deal, but your commitment to the investment in the future of our community. And I do think that's what this is. I hope I'm going to be able to ride a bicycle on this when it's done, but I certainly will be able to walk around it anyway. So I think it undoubtedly is going to be to the greater good of our whole community, whether it's the city, the county. I mean, to me, we're all one. It's our community. So thank you and appreciate your time and look forward to the 22nd.
But before we close out, could I just update you guys on the Bobby Pate, just so you know, the Bart come by and picked up the signed grant. He's delivering that to Nashville for signatures. He said he'd have it back to me shortly. The planning commission met Monday, approved the subdivision of the property. So that's been done. He has been in contact with Mr. Pate. He understands we have to have a release on that 1 acre from the current lease. So I think he's going to work with Attorney Schultz. I've let Attorney Schultz know that it's a go, and we would look to close somewhere towards the end of March. I haven't set a date yet once we get all those pieces together. So just kind of let you know, everything as far as I know is a go, and we can't do anything before March 15th. That's the date on the grant itself. So I'm really looking forward to getting that started. I've already had a request for naming that that area there. I don't know if that went to all you guys or not, but and I've been contacted by Mr. Farner and Mr. Harmon that knew the gentleman that there's trying to name it for. They say there's a commitment to provide funding for some improvements there, possibly if that's done, but that'll be discussed at a later date. I just want to make you aware of it. And so that'd be something the commission would decide at a later date. But that's kind of where we are on that deal. And hopefully we'll have it up and ready to go for the spring and summer.
Great.
Excellent news. Thank you, Mayor.
That's good.
Any other updates or questions while we're together? If not, I'll just say thank you for your time. Stephen, as always, thank you for setting us up and allowing us to do this. And it's been good discussion today, and we'll see you guys at the meeting, if not sooner. Take care.
Thank you.